Okay, students, we just finished our lecture on hair structure, so we've still got that kind of in the background. So earlier today, now some of you may know, some of you may not know, but this is during the pandemic, so a lot of my classes, the way that I teach it, I'm having to do it online. That's what these videos are about. This is exactly the way I teach when I teach in school. I love using the book. We do use the book, but after a while, experience creates other factors and other things that you have to understand, and that's what I'm sharing with you is my experience. Most of you know I've been doing this now 53 years. I grew a year, and it's an incredible industry. I got to share, it is an amazing industry. I never thought, I mean, what other industry do you know of that people keep doing it for that many years? All right, so let's move on. Anyways, this is, as you can see, straight hair. And we did another one earlier today during class, and I showed you how to pull it through a cap. And you asked, Miss Foy, are you going to do a video? Yeah, I'm doing a video for you right now to go over it again. This is a lot closer. My preference actually in foil weaving is this would be the shortest hair, the longest hair that I would do for a foil weave. We did it real heavy on top, as you can see, and and you'll understand in just a few minutes, and we just did a lot less in the back. In other words, we pulled out of every hole on top. This is a frost cap, and then we missed a line and did every other hole in the back. So what do you want? You know, it just depends on what you want. Do you want it real heavy, or do you just want, you know, just a little bit, a few lines in there? Those are options. Those are things that you talk about with your client. All right. Later on, by the way, I will be taking this and we will be toning it. You notice that it's quite warm. I want to call it, may as well say orange. Whenever these are previously colored mannequins. Once you change that inner cortex, that inner color of your natural color, and put artificial color in, I call it like false teeth. They look real, but it's not. And when you get ready to have to change it, you're going to have a problem. This is where knowing what happens when we combine. A natural color, there's certain factors about that, but artificial color, even more factors. And it's understanding what they are, what this is before, what's happened after. It's a whole road of stuff. Bigger thing, know your product. If you don't know your product, you're guessing. So knowing your product is extreme when you're doing hair color. I don't like tunnel vision with product. A lot of the companies try and provide everything they can with it, and I totally get it. I mean, you know, business is business. But when I had my salons, we'd have up to 7 different lines because it depended what we needed. When I start teaching color and we really go into it, I'm hoping I can do videos that would benefit you guys, but I'm also, I mean, I need to concentrate on my students, so a lot of my stuff may be done in the school. But it's pretty cool when I have seasoned stylists, after I've done a color class, that come up and say, you know what, now I know what happened. Because we've all got that. We've all got that one time that it wasn't you messing it up, it was you guessing with the product that you had on hand. So, and it happens, you know, but it's awesome when people come up and say, oh God, now I know what happened. Because believe me, any of you that are not stylists that are watching this, it does bother us. It does stay with us. It's something that we think about 24/7 after it has happened. And it's hard to get over it. Sometimes stylists don't do that one particular service again because of that. But understand that knowing color is exactly that. Know how color happens and know every detail about it, and then learn your product. Okay, so what we're going to do today is this mannequin has been colored. All mannequins that you buy, their hair has been colored. It's either been lightened, it's either been darkened, whatever, but it has artificial color in it. So I'm using a blue lightener. I have my hook in here, but I'm using a blue lightener. The reason I want to use a blue lightener is because I want to get rid of the gold. Blue and orange, which is gold, make black, brown, white, or gray. Because I'm going lighter, I'm hoping to have a little residue of yellow in there and let the blue, common term is cancel. But when you say cancel, you never know what you're going to create. So I would like the word to change to create. Let's create as light a yellow as we can with this. Now, I'm not going to put her into the dryer. I'm just going to leave it normal. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to pull it through a cap. I'm going to show you how to put the cap on. I'm going to show you how to hold the hook, how to properly hold the hook. There's a video that we saw in school, and it's like, no, that's not. And on a mannequin, yeah, because they don't scream when you do that. But do it to yourself. I'll show you in just a minute, and let's just see what how do you really feel about that. But your frosting cap is this right here. Oops, I just dropped my comb. Is this right here. It's got a little front to it that's kind of a protective front. Some of them actually have a plastic that will come out, a clear plastic, come out of the bottom. This one doesn't, and that's to protect the back of the hair, so if you drip your lightener. The way that you're going to put it on, what you need to do first, now this hair is really, really short, so it's standing straight up, but this needs to come forward. At the frontal fringe, remember, at the front, the frontal fringe touches the apex, comes down to the parietal line. You want to bring that forward. The reason for that, when we start pulling it through the cap, if I pull all this back, all right, and then I pull one right here, and that's going to be through the cap. So that part of it is going to get lightener. The rest of it is not. If I pull it forward, I'm more likely to pull it where I want it up in the front. What are they going to see right away? Everything in the front. So, less room for error if you do it that way. You're going to take your cap, you're going to start from the back, and you're going to place it right there. See how I'm pushing that forward? And then tuck it in. You want to bring that forward. Tuck it in. And you want to get it snug on there to where it's tight on her face. You don't want to cover her eyes, of course. I mean, you have to watch the client, make sure you don't have it up in, too close to the eyes because you're going to be working on it. I want to put that on there tight, though. Now, you can see that that's nice and snug on there. We're not too worried about having hair coming out of the back because it's so short. So that's not going to be a problem if it drips down. So what I'm going to do, going to bring it in this form so that you can see it. The video that we watched is they do it straight into the head. They go straight into the head, they dig down, get the hair out, and then they pull it up. Now take this hook and just kind of press it into your head. I mean, press it as hard. No, maybe you better not, because you're going to poke a hole in your head. Just gently press it into your head, and it feels like you're pressing needles in there. Now think about if you press it into your head and then you choose to carve something out. Do you suppose you might be scratching that scalp? Really something you should not do. And one thing we talked about in class today that I mentioned to you guys, let's say that you do this and you're doing this to a client and they have high blood pressure, so they're taking blood thinners. But then one time you just take it because you couldn't get that hair out, so you dug in just a little bit more in this form and you cut the client. People on blood thinners don't stop bleeding. It's very difficult to get them to stop bleeding. Even if you scratch it, they will start bleeding. So this is not a good thing. You're supposed to hold it. It's got a little flat beveled spot right there. And cameraman, if you can just get it real close to the head. Beveled spot right there. You're going to place your thumb and your index finger. It doesn't matter where you pull it out. Now what I want you to do afterwards, I'm not going to have the cameraman change the camera, but just take this with the hook up and just kind of scrape your head like that. And you're going to find that it's more of a kind of a nice scratcher if you have an itch on the top of your head, but it's not going to cut into you. All right, so taking it in this form, and this is rounded, so there is no sharp tool in there. All right, someone take it, and if you notice now, not all caps have this. You may have a different cap that's just all white and just has a bunch of holes in it. This makes it just a little easier because, as you can see, my cap, every other hole has a round circle on it, or every other hole does not have a round circle on it. If I want this really heavy, like I did the top on the other one, I pulled out of every hole, all over. Let's say that I don't want it that heavy. Then I would pull out of only the ones that have the little hole, the circles on them, excuse me. Only the ones that have the circles on them on each one. Let's say that I want it even lighter than that. Okay, only the ones that have the circles on them every other line. These are the determining factors, all right, that you're going to do for yourself. So what is it that the client is wanting? And once you know how much, you develop a pattern for yourself on how much you're going to pull out of the cap. So what I'm going to do is you always start up at the apex and then you travel down. And the thing to be careful of course, is their ears. You've got to watch out around the ears and stuff. They don't have hair below that hairline around the ear, so there's no reason for you to come down too far down into that. So I have my hook and I'm laying it down just horizontally the whole time. Now when I'm in the back, it is going to be standing up, but do you see where I'm still coming in at an angle? Where the hook is flat to the head all the time, never pointing into the head, but flat to the head. That's very, very important that you know that. Okay, so you're going to hold this taunt. I'm just going to go into the little circle holes. There, I got it. Okay, your next step, see I've hooked it, then you pull it up. So I'll do another one. Press in. You'll feel it tear that plastic underneath. The plastic in between the scalp and the cap is a protective layer so that the lightener doesn't travel down into it. It protects it from that. So see, I've got that. Pull it up. And it's much easier. Oops, I did one without the circle because I'm trying to work cockeyed here. So once you get good at this, oops, come on here. There you go. Once you do this enough, you really get a lot faster. Now hold it. You got to hold it taut so that it pulls out. And I'm just going into where the little holes are, and I'm skipping a row, as you can see. I don't want it too heavy. I want it to look like highlights. Now remember, pierce, capture the hair, bring it out. Don't just tear it out, hook it, and then gently pull it up. Now let me tell you, look. Can I do that? Yeah. This is sharp. So as I pull it out, I could be breaking off some hair. That's why. There's your why you don't do this. All right? I'll always tell you the whys on this. So you want to be careful. Take it out. Hook it. This is round. This will work with you. This will cut it. Okay? Remember, it's sharp enough to poke a hole in it. It's also sharp enough to take sections of hair off. So be careful about that. Hook it, and then bring it up. Hook it, and then bring it up. All right, I'm going to leave this alone for a minute because I want to show you the other areas to work. And then what we'll do, we'll close for a minute. I'll finish pulling it out. We'll come back, and then you'll see me apply. But I want to show you how to apply in other areas of the head. So I'm gonna, let's say that I have gotten all this top done and I'm traveling down. What you do then, you don't have to destroy your body by doing this. What you do, clients, remember, you're gonna be doing this all day. You're gonna be on your feet all day. Your arms are gonna be up all day. Bring her head down. Make it simple for yourself so that you're just standing there straight up and not contorting your body. So let's say, I'm going to say that I've gotten all this done. So then I want to make sure that this is taut. Hold on a minute. I had it in there backwards so it didn't capture anything. There you go. And see, this hair is pretty short. And see, I'm just... So do you see how much easier it is by bending her head back to down a bit? Okay, so then I would, and you always start from the top and travel down. I'm down here, we're pretending that I've already gotten that done. So I'm going to turn her head, I'm going to come to the side. On the side, I'm going to start at the top and travel down. So again, I'm following the little holes, capture it, pull it up, capture it, pull it up, and I'm skipping a row. Okay, I'm skipping this row right here because these are going to overlay. I may pick up one or two in this area if I feel like there's too much of a gap, and that's part of you just looking at it. But you can see that I'm just pulling out of the ones that are circled. As I get by the ear, I want to make sure and feel for that. I want to feel where the ear is at. I don't want to get too close to the ear because that's the hairline, and it is a very sensitive area as well. So I'm going to measure it by 2 fingers. I'm going to stay above that. And if I do any right there, I may do 1, and that's it. All right, and then just keep coming down with it until I get down. You know, in other words, I'm going to travel down with it as I do it. Okay, so let's say that we've gotten all this done, and I'll do it again before I apply. I just had a comb, and I've got to see, where did I put it? Oh, it fell. Darn it. All right, let me get this brush. I'm going to use my brush. You're going to have some little loops. Let me show you the loops. I don't want to pick up a comb that's been on the floor because then you guys are going to learn all those bad habits. Okay, so there's a loop right here. See it? Just pick it up. There's a loop right here. Sometimes the hair will loop. I'm going to pull that out. So when it loops like that, that's the reason for the comb. And you're just going to comb it out, or you can brush it out, like this Denon brush has got a lot of bristles on it, and comb it both ways to get all those loops out. Otherwise, you're going to have hair that's looped in there, the end is inside, you're going to have it halfway done, and then the ends are going to be dark still because it's inside. So that you want to brush it like this or comb it and get those loops out. I've got one loop right there that says, I'm not coming out, and I say, yes, you are. Okay, you tell that hair what to do, it doesn't tell you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the rest of this out. I will show it to you before we put the lightener on it. So we're going to cut off for a minute, then cameraman will come back in a little bit and do this. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. See you in a minute. Hey students, we're back. So I've pulled it out. I'm going to let you see it a little bit. You can see where it's pretty much just where the little circles are. So I don't want it too heavy. I just want her to have highlights. Now normally when you're, like especially on a guy, you just want to do it above the parietal line. That's it. You want to stay above the parietal line and test the waters first to see what they want. Some guys just like that frontal fringe area done, and that's it. Some guys do like it all over. It's better to do less first than too much. If you do too much, you have a problem. You're gonna have to fix it. So it's always better to go less until you get used to knowing what happens with a frost cap. guessing at it. So now what I'm going to do, I have little loops in there, so I'm combing the loops out, and I'm going to comb it in different directions to make sure that I get them out. I'm just going to go ahead and do the back here. And you can see that I was able to pull out a little more on this side in the back than this side, but not going to worry too much about it. It's still going to look okay. So I've got that. Okay, so your color bowls should have little numbers on the bottom. And if you take your lightener to the last number on the bottom, if not, normally when you get lighteners, you know, this lightener, it's got a scoop in it. So 2 scoops ought to be enough for, let me open it up for you so you can see what the scoops look like. Some of them are different. This one looks like this. So, you know, and that's a scoop. It's got a line at the center, so you can use half a scoop or a full scoop. Depends on what you want. So, they all have a scoop that goes with them, doesn't matter which one you buy. So I would say 2 scoops to start, because what happens when you have too much lightener and you end up throwing it away? You've just thrown away some money. All right? So you want to make sure and measure out exactly what you need. Cameraman, would you do me a favor? I think my tint brush, my color brush is at the, see that pink brush up there at the bowl? Yeah. Would you get that for me, please? I forgot my tint brush. So he's getting it for me. All right. So what you want to do, thank you very much. You want to take this, and this is a particular, forget the name of the, Goldwell, I think, yeah. Little bowls, and I love them. Okay, so you want to take that, you want to put equal amounts at first, all right? So I've taken it up after a while. You know what's funny after a while? When you've been doing hair for a long time, you've been doing this for a long time, I know a lot of the videos say, you know, exactly 2 or exactly 3 ounces, whatever. You can eyeball it. After a while, you really do just eyeball it. You don't have time to be over there mixing and measuring and then pouring. When you're backed up with 5 clients at a time, you want to put that color together and get it on there and work on the next one. All right? That's how you make your money in this business. All right? So anyways, after a while, you know. So circular motions first. And then you want it to come out creamy. And you can see that it's doing it. Okay, it's a little bit lumpy, but it's got to reflect back a little bit from the lights and stuff, but you can kind of see it just a little lumpy. So I'm just kind of mixing it up a bit more, pressing that in. Now you want to be able to pick it up so that it stays like that. It might drip a little bit, but that's what you want it to do. You want it to be almost like a nice frosting, all right? Not real stiff, but just creamy-like, all right? So wipe off both ends, and then what you're going to do, you're going to take off one section, wipe off the back. Dirty, clean. Dirty, clean. So I want this dirty side, I'm going to put that right there for now, and I'm going to hold this, oh, sorry, hang on a minute, That was crazy of me to even think about this. Put your gloves on, because that lightener will burn. If you have an open sore, you're going to know that you have an open sore. Put your gloves on, and you should put it on before you mix your color. Lightener, color, whatever. Now I'm only using 20 volume with this. I don't want to think about how much more it would burn by using 40 volume. I've talked about the volumes before. If you take 4 cups of water, fill them up to the exact same height, and if you guys know what Alka-Seltzers are, I mean, go to the store and buy some Alka-Seltzers and try this. On the 1 glass, put 1 Alka-Seltzer in there. On the next glass, put 2 in there, 3, and then 4. And now we even have 60 volume developer. So you're going to put 4. The 1 glass is what 10 volume, the activity that happens with 10 volume, it's called oxidation. And then it fizzes down. Look at how much more activity, that's what's jumping and beating up your hair. Breaking that cuticle layer back. Remember the cuticle layer when we talked about hair structure. Opening it up, they're not gently, they're going, come on, open up. That's the activity that's happening with your hair structure when you do that. 30 volume, look at what's going to happen. It may fizz over. And the 40 volume, you know it's going to fizz over. That's a lot of oxidation, a lot of stuff happening. It's best to do it twice. And again, like I said, know your product. Know the stuff you're using. Know what it's capable of doing. Okay, so I've got my one, dirty side, clean side. Gonna take the hair and I'm gonna brush it on there. I'm brushing everything to the apex. I want to make sure and mix it up in there because I can brush it on this one. And if I don't take it inside the hair shaft, what will happen is this outside that's got it will lighten. The inside will get fragrance of it and it will stay orange or gold. So you want to make sure and mix it up in there really good. I'm going to bring this up and mix it up in there. Bring this up and bring everything up to the apex. See, like that, when you take your dirty side, you're not dripping anything underneath it. If you dip it in there and get both sides dirty, the likelihood of you dripping on the ground or on your client or on your clothes is extreme. And I should be wearing an apron. So you notice everything is going up. And again, making sure. And sometimes what I do is I take it in circles with this curly hair to make sure that it goes all over, and then I brush it up because I want to make sure that it's in all of the hair. Okay, let me turn this around for you to see. And I see some spots here that I miss. See, when I'm working on the other side, I can't see them. But is that righty-tighty? Yeah, okay. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Okay, I'm gonna get this again right here and then swish it around. Cameraman, I need you to do me a favor. On the white cabinet over there on the very bottom are they look like plastic caps. Would you get one for me, please? Because I've got to cover this up. The one thing to remember about lightener is if it dries, it stops working. So you've got to remember to keep it moist. No, the white cabinet. Further.
Other white.
Yeah, the other white one. And then again, move it around. And everything is brought up, even if the hair's a little bit longer. It's brought up to, you want to pull one of those out for me, please? I just need one. Got my hands full here. Thank you very much. Okay, so bringing it all up, and you can see that this mannequin's hair is darker than the other one that I used. And you see that I'm being very generous with it too. I'm not being real light with it. You can definitely see that blue lightener on there. And if you look close, you can almost see the color breaking up. You can see that this is almost just a little lighter brown than that is right there. And what's telling you that it's happening, it's doing what it's supposed to do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply. I'm going to put a plastic cap on her. I'm not going to put her under the dryer. I want this to work naturally because not all of you have dryers at home to put them under. Can you put the cap on and blow dry it to heat it up? Yeah, but who wants to stand there and do that? I don't. So, lightener, as long as it is kept moist, will keep working. So we want it to keep working, but we want to do it gently. We want to keep the integrity of this hair as best as we can. So I'm making sure that it's all covered. I'm looking at it because sometimes close to the scalp where the hair is tighter right there, close to that little hole, it tends to kind of squeeze in there. So you've got to make sure to move it around a bit. So I think I've got it pretty well covered. Now, then you're going to get your bag. You're going to open it up, and then you're going to put it on the head. Make sure that you, a lot of times what you can do, you can put like a plastic around the neck if they have really short hair, so you don't get any lightener on there, because on the skin it's going to burn it a bit. So you need to be careful, especially if they're sensitive. Open this up so that it is loose. You can press it down, but you don't have to. Just open it up. It's loose. It looks more professional than having them stuffed with all that bag and everything stuffed under there. Okay, but make sure that it's all covered. All right, look around and make sure that all of that hair that has lightener on it is covered. Now the way that you take off your gloves, because now you're going to work on another client, we're going to leave this on for 30 minutes. We're going to shut off, leave it on for 30, come back, and I'm going to show you how to take it off. My preference is take the cap off before I shampoo and then just shampoo the whole thing. Some people shampoo it, take the cap off, shampoo it again. What is your time in this industry? Your time is money. This is the why you do not pull through a cap on hair longer than the first mannequin that I showed you today. The one she was just up to the jawline basically, and a very layered haircut, very short. So maybe the hair might have been 5 inches long. All right, maybe 7, but I think it was only like about 5 inches long. So it's easier to pull. You have this long hair, you're going to be tearing it, you're going to be pulling it, and it's better to foil weave that longer hair. So, you know, those things just work out better for this. Now, another thing you can do with the lightener, however, is if you notice the hair was pulled up, I could have just tipped the ends and not taken it down to the scalp. That's another thing you can do. You can just tip the ends where you want it, bag it, and then wait the 30 minutes. And just be careful not to press it down, because lightener has no brains. If it touches other hair, chemical reaction happens. That's all there is to it. It's going to do its job. So you'd have to put this on really loose to make sure that the tip stayed up and stuff. On the shorter hair, I could have done that. But I wanted to show you, you know, on the application, brushing it in there. And some of you saw it this afternoon when I did my class. So I want to show you how to take off the gloves. You see the gloves. Take this off, pull it. Your fingers are still in, right? Take the other one, pull it, and that glove goes inside the one glove. So now you're clean. Okay? So, of course, you're going to get some fresh gloves when you get ready to shampoo it out, and when I get ready to take it off. So we're going to signal off. We're going to be back in 30 minutes. You won't notice the 30 minutes because we're just going to come right back on your part. But I had a little bit of the lightener left, so what am I doing? I'm throwing money away. Darn it. So just, you know, be aware of that. It's always best to mix up a little bit more and then save your product, because there's nothing. Okay, let's say that I ran out of my blue lightener and all I had was my white lightener. You're going to get a different tone. It's possible, not impossible, but possible that you would get a different tone, because the blue is meant to get rid of or camouflage or neutralize or cancel or create a different tone. All right? So, be back in a little bit.
Go.
Okay, students, I'm putting on my gloves to take this off. And remember, I've told you that she was pre-colored and she was pretty dark. There was no heat applied. A little bit of heat, maybe under the dryer, would have popped it up a little bit more. So you can see that she's come up lighter. Now what you're going to do, you're going to open up your cap. Just kind of set it to the side. My preference is to take the cap off, and normally I would take it off at the shampoo bowl. So keep in mind, she'd be laying back as I'm doing this, okay? So I would have her at the shampoo bowl. I'd have her laying back at the bowl, just relaxed. And then I would untie the bottom. Oh, and I see that I also was telling my cameraman, I also colored the hairs in her nose. So this is what I'm talking about, it dripping a little bit. So you got to be careful about that. There's no mirror in front of me. So anyways, we noticed that afterwards. And there's going to be stuff like that when I'm having to move and shift and all that nonsense. So just know that. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take this, oops, you're going to roll it back. I got to keep her head in there. Well, I could bounce her head, couldn't I? But I'm not going to. Okay, so you're just going to roll it back. And then as the hairs come out, what you're going to do is you're going to take your finger and bring the hairs out like that. All right? Take your finger and just bring the hairs out. So as you're taking it off, and the longer hair is going to take a little bit harder. So you see that I'm rolling it back, getting all those little hairs out of there. I'm going to turn her around so you can see the back as I do this. And see, all of that lightener is staying inside that. See it? So I gather it up. So now I don't have a handful of lightener. The only lightener I've got is inside my bag. And that's what I mean. See how it pulls? So that's inside my bag. I'm going to put it inside the cap. And then it all goes in the trash. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take her to you probably, like I told you guys this afternoon, take it to the bathtub. Do not do this in the kitchen sink. Some of this hair is going to break off. You don't want that in your kitchen sink. I don't care if it's a mannequin or not. Take it to the bathtub. Take the cap off and then shampoo her and give her a light conditioner. So you saw me take it off. You saw me gather it up. I'm going to leave my gloves on because I've got to shampoo this out. So when I shampoo it out, I'm going to go ahead and shampoo it out. Then I'll bring the blow dryer up, and then you'll be able to see the highlights in there once we do it. So we're going to cut off again because I'm going to go shampoo it, and then we'll be right back. All right? How's the lighting? Is the lighting okay?
Yeah.
Okay, students. So I'm going to take the blow dryer, and you can see the color. See the highlights. See where they're a little heavier? She's got more hair back here. So a little lighter back in the back. See, looks a little heavier up on top. And I'm going to go ahead and get my blow dryer. Oops. Almost had an oopsie here. Okay, so high heat, low air. Pretend that you have a stick right here. Do not do this with the blow dryer. Use your whole hand. It strengthens your arms, strengthens your shoulders. This is going to give you carpal tunnel. I see it all the time. Please don't. High heat, low air. You don't need that air being strong on there. What you need is the heat. The heat is what's going to dry it. So I'm just going to pop it up. You see she did come out a little bit gold, and that's because she had artificial color. So I'm popping that up, it's always going to be slightly darker wet. You're going to see that as it dries, it's going to start looking more yellow than gold. So hair is always much darker when it's wet, and that's a fact right there on this. Use your whole arm. Pretend you've got a stick right there that's keeping it from you moving that wrist. Because what's going to happen, like I said, unless you want carpal tunnel, and remember, you don't place the blow dryer on the scalp. It's always away. The reason for that is because you don't want to burn your client. If you stand it away a little bit, you know, like this, you can, but you want to just keep it so that it's kind of going sideways. And it's gonna, another thing that's gonna do, I want to show you something. Look, I'm gonna heat that up. I'm gonna let it cool. See how it stands up? Heat it up. Let it cool. That's what we were doing in class the other day. I showed you how to heat it up with the blow dryer, hold it a minute, let it cool, and it stands up. You get volume with that. How you do the cut as well is another way to get volume. But I'm just taking this, again using my whole arm. I want to scatter it a bit. She's pretty wet right there. Stay on there. Now this one's just going to be loose anyways. And it's how the mannequin fits on the stand. Some of them fit real well and you have to force them off. And other ones just kind of keep wiggling. So this gives you a pretty good idea what you can do with it. Gives you a pretty good idea of the effects of frosting with a cap. On a first highlight, if they have short hair, instead of going in with foils, unless they want a specific look. Now there's certain looks that we can get with foils, and I'll be showing you some of those that are pretty cool if you just want a specific look with it. Okay, so basically it's just out, and if I wanted to, she's still a little, like a little damp on the side, so we're not going to worry too much about it. But I'm going to turn her around slowly so you can see the color, so you can see everything that we did on it. Now you see where we didn't take it all the way up to the perimeter line here. That's why that's darker. This is where you knowing where you're at on the cap and so on really helps. All right, the back, again, not as much. It's still good, you know, still looks good. I'm trying to get it to so that you guys can see it on the camera, but I want you to see, I mean, that's got some yellow in there, and it's definitely got some warmth in there, and that's, again, you've got to mix that lightener real close to it. But the biggest thing with doing any highlights, try and keep it away from the perimeter line. I was trying to be careful with that because when it grows out, that's where you see it. So you want it to be behind that hairline, behind that perimeter line. So that's pretty much it, students. When you pull it through a cap, and now you see the difference in this, it actually looks like she's even got more hair than she had before. It also gives her a little bit more volume. So somebody that, I mean, see, because that cuticle is opened up, so it's pushing that hair away from each other a little more, so that's what creates the volume in it. But it's a simple look, and not much to it, and that's just a frost cap. And The one that we did in class today, I did real heavy on top, but you can see when you don't, when you mix up, you know, put the holes a little bit, mix them up, you get a little, just a bit of a, you know, just a whole different look. It's a whole different look. So that's what a frost cap is. The biggest thing to remember, your needle is always at an angle when you insert it in. Always at an angle. That point is sharp. All you have to do is press it down, pull that hair up, and then try to do the exact same thing on your own scalp with the same pressure. You can't. It's going to hurt. It's going to cut. So lay it down sideways. Make sure that the cap is taut when you do it. In other words, hold the cap down, lay it down, pull it out. All right? So that you have it taut and be able to get through that plastic. It takes a little bit of a practice, but you'll get it, and you will get faster at it. Now, a little bit of gel on this or something would really pop it up a little bit more, give it a little bit more separation, so on. But that's pretty much it. I hope that you learned something on a cap frost. We are going to start foil weaving next week. The first time you foil weave. Now, those of you that want to learn how to foil weave, I will be doing a video on it, but the first time we weave with water. Because if you can foil weave with water, you can foil weave with color. If you can get water to work for you when you're doing a foil weave, you have to do it on dry hair. You get the system to foil weaving down. The second time we do it, you're going to do it with conditioner. The third time you do it, and now the second time it's either conditioner or gel. Which one do you want to use? Now the gel sticks a little more. The conditioner's creamier. What is the lightener? Creamy. All right? So it's better to learn harder, so then it becomes easier. It also helps you when you learn how to do it with water and you learn the method, you definitely get closer to the scalp. And there's a variety of ways to foil weave. It's not all just weaving. Some of it's straight lines, some of it is overlapping the foils. There's a ton of ways to do this. Some of it are decorative and creative, depending on what you want to do. So know that these things are coming up for you to learn how to do them. And we still need to do what? Clipper cutting. We still have, I want to go over razor cutting with you at least one time so that you can get the feel of it and know how to stroke that blade in there. Things like that we still have a lot of videos and a lot of stuff we're going to do. Take care, guys. God bless. Hope this worked out for you. I hope you understand it. And we'll see you in class. Take care.